affairs. So I found Jonathan and Nick's presentation to be very informative, and I hope you do too.
Great, thanks. Well, good evening again. I'm Jonathan Murray.
And I'm Nick Capizzuto.
And we're here to propose to you a new club at the high school, Junior State of America. Junior State of America, or JSA for short, is a nonpartisan national political awareness group for high school students across the country. Its major concerns are politics and government, foreign affairs, the law, and education. This is a national organization, but we are hoping to bring it to the high school as a club. It was created by students as a way for students to become more involved in the current issues, and it's entirely student-driven under the direction of a faculty advisor.
Now, the question you might be thinking is, why bring the Junior State of America to North Reading? Well, over the past 4 years at being at North Reading High School, I've noticed that there is a heavy and healthy political atmosphere. I mean, if I remember 2 years ago with the presidential election, there was an actual political awareness club that was started, but that quickly died down. And students here, they crave an environment in which they can discuss these issues among their peers without compromising their class time. And by starting a Junior State of America chapter at North Reading High School, we give students a constructive and healthy environment in order to become more informed, a chance to become better educated on different issues in society today. For example, we wanted to educate people about the ballot questions. And I know personally, I'm not old enough to vote, but I really wanted to understand what they meant. And I understand the first and third one, but the second one, the House zoning law with Chapter 40B, that was very confusing for me, and I literally had to ask, I think, 4 different people till I could sort of get an idea about it. And with JSA, we want to overstep all of that and basically have something very easy, very simple for people to become informed on the issues. And we also feel that it would provide a sense of civic duty and national pride in people so that they could potentially make a difference someday in the United States.
Additional reasons why we feel JSA should be brought to the high school: give students the opportunity to exchange ideas and stimulating debate and critical discussion. And there are also JSA conferences that would be available, certainly not for the first year, but down the road we have interest from freshman and sophomore students, so that would be something for them to take on. We also would like students to meet many new people even within the school and who share the similar interests.
And then there are different steps that one must go through to start a Junior State of America chapter. These 6 basic steps are, first, to find a teacher and advisor, which we actually have already accomplished. Mr. McIntosh is our AP United States Government and Politics teacher. As Jonathan mentioned, he brought us to the JFK Library for the mock gubernatorial debate a few weeks ago now, right? Mm-hmm. And he was the first person to bring this up, and Jonathan and I, as well as a handful of other students, immediately caught on, which makes us founding members. And that's the second one. We have our founding members. There are, I think, besides Jonathan, either 4 or 5 more people that basically get to write that they were the founding members, and they get to add that. And every year that the JSA meets at North Reading High School, that our names get to be read, as we were the ones that really pushed for this and we wanted this. And number 3, that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to get approval from the administration. Number 4 is a work, not I want to say work in progress, it's a basically work progressed. We have, as Jonathan said, there's interest from freshmen, sophomore, juniors, not just the senior class, but people from all over the high school that want to learn more about these certain issues. Number 5 is to write a chapter constitution, which once it gets approved, what we have to do is we have to draft our own constitution outlining what the JSA and North Reading wants to do, how meetings will be conducted, what we plan on doing, and anything else we feel is beneficial to the Junior State of America. And number 6 is to organize meetings to develop goals and activities, such as you'll learn, as Jonathan will explain, bringing people to speak on certain issues, holding nights where people can come together and almost have a town hall style debate, and just really keeping people well informed.
So like Nick was saying, some of our goals and our future ideas for this club would be hold debates on civic issues. So like he said, town hall, things like that. I don't think we'll be passing out warrants to all the students in the high school.
Why
but
not? Why do you get away with it?
We'd also like to have realistic elections. So something like this election coming up, we would have open that up for students who aren't able to vote or who aren't old enough to vote, and develop an environment of political awareness. So elections at North Reading High School and guest speakers to come in to inform students on civic matters and things like that. And like Mr. Bernard said, this would be the equivalent, as Model UN is for international affairs, we'd like to bring this in as domestic issues, because international affairs are very important, but this domestic is should be at the top.
And going along, just to summarize basically what Jonathan said, I know I'm the co-founder of the Model United Nations Club, and this year is just a huge success. I mean, we had our first debate. We had 12, 13 kids, and that was maybe a third of the countries that we had proposed. I mean, a lot of people are out with sports, so we're actually holding the rest of our debate a week from tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the high school library. And it's almost, you can almost feel how people just crave to really be into this world and become educated and enriched by these topics in the country, because there's just so much to learn and there's just so much to be exposed to. And we feel that the Junior State of America is the perfect way to almost channel this energy into a very positive and healthy environment.
Great presentation. Thanks for bringing it forward. Any questions or comments?
I have some comments.
Yes.
I love this idea. I think it's fantastic. I do have a comment and a question. I will start with my question. What are you going to do to balance the discussion of politics? As you know, this is a complicated area. When you bring politics into schools, people go, "Eh." So talk to me a little bit about, and maybe John could also tell us a little bit about how you intend to balance your approach as a student organization.
Well, Nick mentioned earlier, a couple of years ago, there was an informal group. It was called Political Awareness, and that was basically groups of students who came in, and there was a teacher advisor who kind of led them. It wasn't an official group. And they followed the guidelines of, if they were to put anything up on the walls or anything like that, there had to be an equal amount. So if you put up 10 posters for a Democratic candidate, you would have to put up 10 for a Republican, or whatever it may be. Now, concerning debates or things like that, you certainly can't force someone to be on one side.
Yep.
We try to get an issue we would try to get issues that aren't totally one-sided, or try to have an equal balance between opposing, agreeing, things like that. Am I answering your question?
No, you are. I just said, to my comment, as someone who was very active when I was younger in politics, and who later on I was the Northeastern chairman of the Young Republicans. There are so many opportunities.
We don't want that to happen here.
No.
So,
No longer that way. You're isolated. I think it's very important to have an area where you can try on new ideas, whatever that happens to be, and for that to be open, so that people feel they can go outside of that comfort zone and do something completely different and ask questions. 40B, I've asked 20 people about 40B, and I think it's very important to ask this and to participate in the political process. And I really applaud you for bringing this to us and talking about this, especially with an election coming up. So thank you for bringing it to the school committee.
I think one key is there are guidelines that you operate under, correct, in terms of trying to keep it balanced, correct? So that, I think, but Karen's point is well taken, that you really need to you need to work on making sure it does stay balanced. This is refreshing for me, because the last month all I've been hearing and reading about is this new book about how we're raising a generation of nincompoops, and these kids don't know anything about politics, and they don't know anything about global affairs. And I just think what I'm seeing tonight is the students coming forward with these kinds of presentations gives me a little bit of confidence, at least in our North Reading student body, that we have kids that are paying attention to these kinds of things. I think it's really important. The more kids we can get involved, the better. But I don't have any questions. Jerry?
how many kids are interested?
Founding members, we have about half a dozen. People who are interested in the club but don't really want to be a part of founding it, I would say maybe 15 to 20.
So you think you can generate that kind of interest and support?
I would say the first year, without even advertising it without the school, I think we have about 20 kids who would.
Just alone in our AP Gov class, because that's where it was first announced, more than 3/4 of the class was definitely into this idea. They really liked it because we have me sitting up front being a liberal, and then we have 2 seats behind me, one of the most conservative people I've ever talked to that's my age, and it's just we don't want to cut into class time, but there's just so many people. Like I said, there's just almost like salivation for I'm not sure. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm making up words, but just this insatiable desire to basically debate that doesn't cut into class time. So we think that just in one AP Gov class, I don't know how many other Gov classes.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add, we're both in Model UN, and we have a lot of freshmen who are interested in parlaying their interests from that to.
Now, would you entertain bringing in guests, people
Absolutely,
to come
that's
in
something
and
we'd
speak?
like to look into. Maybe.
I think
I nominate Jerry.
I think Karen hit on an interesting point. I think you used the word nonpartisan in your first page of your presentation, so I think it'll be interesting to see how it evolves as to whether or not some group tries to take this over or whether or not it remains more or less a theoretical, political type
That's something
discussion.
we would try to write in the Constitution,
Yeah.
not to say that it would work that way, but that's something we'd like to strive to, because as you all know, any way to get good political discourse is having opinions on both sides.
Right.
So that's something we try to strive for.
Good luck.
Anything else?
There are places in the country where nincompoops are being raised, but that North Reading is not one of those
Thankfully.
places. And, we're a part of the education gap. We're on the top end of
Right.
the education gap. The only real question I have is, what year are you guys eligible to become president?
Here.
Let's see, 17,
Yeah.
35.
I would love to.
2027.
That'd be great.
And which one's first?
We're the same day, actually, November 11th.
We're
but
November
He's
11th.
older
Get
by
outta
about
here.
8 months,
Yeah, both-
not months,
We
hours.
both missed the election by 9
We
days.
have both parties represented
Yeah,
here in
right.
the election of.
Great.
Well, I think this is fun, and if you do need speakers, you can always come to. We are politicians. Every
Yep.
elected member and the selectmen, we all represent different areas. So have us come talk,
Absolutely.
especially Jerry Venezia.
If you want to get a balanced view, just stay over the side of the
That's why I'm in the middle.
No.
Any further questions or comments?
When you're in the middle, shows something,
Well-
doesn't it?
I would love to make a motion to approve the high school chapter of the Junior State of America
For a 2-year
for a 2-year
trial period.
trial period,
Motion-
probationary period.
Trial,
sounds better.
yes. Motion by Ms. Arquette, second by Mr. Bowers. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Great. Thanks,
job.
guys.
Good presentation,
much.
guys.
Yeah, good job. Have fun. Thanks, John. Sorry to make you wait. Okay.
That's so much fun. That's great.
You know, I actually see, I see the 2 selectmen sitting still in the audience, and I believe they're probably sitting here because we're going to discuss the draft presentation for the strategic planning document. So since you 2 guys are still here, if the committee doesn't mind, I'll take that out of, the agenda is so out of order now. We've actually covered almost every item, but we've been so out of order. But I'll bring you guys up in case we have any questions, and we can discuss. So I think we're pretty close on the data. I know Carl and Kathy have been working on the data and the numbers, and I think we have most of the numbers. And I think they're meeting tomorrow with one administrator to get the final information that they need. And our goal is to have it to you on Wednesday morning. So I'll let just Carl and Kathy kind of talk about what they've done, and then if you have any questions or comments, we have any questions, we can. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Carl?
First of all, thank you, Mr. Crisco, for allowing us an opportunity to take a look at it before it got published.
Oh, absolutely, not
Appreciate
a
that.
problem. No need to thank me. It's the most important thing, I believe, is we get out of the gate with this, is that we have the right information. So I'm more concerned about that than I am anything else.
Okay.
Great.
So we haven't had an opportunity to look at some of the school numbers, and it's probably easier for us in some cases to access them. So what we're in the process of doing, working with the superintendent to cite and source and footnote all of the suggested changes that we would like to suggest. And so we have made a few number changes. I don't think they're significant,
No.
but they are reflective of either DOE sources or our own sources, and we can, as I said, we can back them up through definitive information. The second thing we